Hey everyone, this is Kerbal Space Program Career Mode, and we are on the launch pad with Bill Kerman. Doesn't look like we're terribly high on the launch pad based on the view. I'm actually not sure what Bill is doing here. Let's take a look outside and see if we can figure out what's going on. Oh hey look, we are pretty much just sitting in a pod on the launch pad, but on the bottom of the pod we have attached what appears to be a rover. That is correct. I have built a rover for future moon missions, or other manned or even unmanned missions that happen to land on another planet. Um, and I thought I would take a minute to go ahead and demo the rover and do some basic testing with it and sort of put it through its paces. As you can see, it's an unmanned module. This is the computer control module here that can be used to steer it on its own, with or without a pilot, which means we can leave it on a planet after we're done with it, and it can continue to explore for us. Rovers run entirely on electricity, so it has some solar panels to help recharge itself and some larger solar panels to deploy basically right when we're running really low on electricity, or say if we want to deploy them right before night so that it will have the ability to get some power back. Of course, this only works for planets that either have a light side, or if we can stay in the light side on them. The moon, we can get to about half of it, but as it rotates, we will have access to more of the surface. We'll just have to make sure we stay in the light at least often enough that we can keep this thing running. But even if we don't, it is again very cheap and unmanned. With all that said, though, let's go ahead and get this thing deployed and put it through its paces. Alright, and with that graceful landing, Bill is going to walk up to his new rover and go ahead and take it for a spin. As you can see, the controls are a little touchy, again, because it's kind of lightweight and we have a lot of wheels. It's doing a lot to try to control itself. I have turned the stabilizers on. I feel like it's a necessary precaution with a pilot. Otherwise, this thing is pretty unbalanced. Just running on its own without a pilot, it actually manages to balance pretty well. So in that case, we could, run without the stabilizers, which would help us turn a little faster. But I think in general, it's the sort of thing where we would leave those on. But as you can see, we can move at a pretty good clip. We don't have to apply power too often to just sort of coast along. In daylight, it will pretty much keep itself charged. We do have some lights to turn on if we want, and that will give us the ability to, maybe see into the shadows or in darkness if we wanted to, although it won't run very long in darkness given that it is solar powered, but it is definitely an option to keep in mind. Overall, the design reminded me pretty heavily of a Pokemon called the Parasect, so I have dubbed this the Parasect Probe. I think the overall use for this thing is going to be to, again, bring with us on any sort of landing mission, use it to maybe do some exploration, manned, get some samples and stuff. It does have some antennas to sort of transmit data back from different locations. And then even afterwards, we can continue to drive it around, collecting data samples using some of the other equipment available on the device. and I think that will help get me quite a bit more science for each mission that I run, or at least more on a single mission as compared to my usual run. That said, pretty much it's going to run just fine. You got to be a little bit careful not to flip it over, otherwise it's going to definitely be unable to proceed. Alright, well I think that's probably far enough. I think the last thing I want to show off is the charging mode that this thing's going to be in if we were, on a planet and had run out of electrical charge, which can happen without too much trouble. Basically what you're going to do is come to a stop, and go ahead and slow us down, and then throw on some brakes. Definitely probably want to have the brakes locked for this, just to make sure you don't actually accidentally start rolling out, since these are kind of delicate as far as panels go. You would then deploy the panels. They're going to turn towards the sun and start charging, and that's going to give you quite a bit of charge. You should get back to full pretty quick. Now it actually can be driven in this mode. It's just not really recommended, given how likely it is to topple, since these things are sort of sticking out the side. But if we wanted to, we would be able to drive in this sort of a mode, just to get some charge and then get back to going. But in general, the idea would be to leave these things closed while moving and only deploy them while stopped. But anyway, that is pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully this thing proves to be just as useful as I had hoped in some future mission. And anyway, thanks for watching.